All right, I've got a challenge for you. Should you choose to accept, then I guarantee you that your life will improve dramatically. Just once today, literally one time, I want you to trust your gut. And I want you to trust it whether it's a big thing or a small thing. I wholeheartedly believe that doing this holds the secret to what we may have been missing in our lives if we haven't been listening to our instincts, that is. What's going on? JayAshcroft here, and today in this video, we're gonna be diving into the value of listening to our instincts. So we all have these gut feelings, even if you've been ignoring them for so long that they become sort of a dull and faint noise somewhere off in the distance. They're always there and they always will be. You see, whether these thoughts are big or small, they seem to know something that you don't. They know the truth, they know the path, and they are the ultimate and genuine you. Let me explain. Our intuitions are simply messages coming from the subconscious mind. You know, the subconscious mind is capable of processing 11 million bits of information per second, while the conscious mind is only capable of processing 50. Let me say that again, 11 million bits per second for the subconscious and 50 bits per second for the conscious mind. That's insane. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but they've discovered it through some research somewhere in the science world. So knowing this ultimate truth, would it not make sense that the subconscious mind, you know, the one that we don't have direct access to at all times, knows more than the conscious mind, which is our thinking mind, the one that makes up that whole use the 5% of our brain's concept. The subconscious mind is the one that does all of the processing. It works through every single piece of information you've absorbed in your entire life. While you sleep, while you eat, while you read and write and walk and watch and listen. So why the hell are we so scared of that? Why do we ignore the voice in our head so much? It's because it's an unknown, and the unknown can be really scary. You wanna know something even more scary though? Xenophobia, which is defined as the fear of the unknown. And it can take you by the hand and lead you down some paths that you are not supposed to be on. Fear can keep you in a career that you loathe for a decade too long, or in that abusive relationship until it's too late. You see, whether big or small, these gut feelings are the truth. And the sooner we can trust them exclusively, the better off we're gonna be. I have had infinite situations in my own life where I've either trusted my gut and benefited more than I ever could have dreamt, or I haven't trusted my gut and I paid the ultimate price. So let's start small. I had a pretty brutal accident and broke my leg in the spring of 2023. If you've been around here before, you've heard me talk about it. As such, I started to really prioritize my health and wellness because, you know, I had to regrow a bone. So when I was going through that healing process, I started to drink Boost. It's this little vitamin and protein shake. One day after a workout, I went and I grabbed a vanilla Boost. But then something inside of me said, have the chocolate. There was no good reason to have the chocolate instead, but I listened and I had the chocolate. And of course, it doesn't matter, just a flavor. But I was open to the concept of trust your gut in a big or small way at the time. So I listened, grabbed the chocolate instead. And when I did that, I had a string of thoughts that actually led me to piecing together the missing parts of this video concept. And the only reason I had that string of thoughts was because I paused, listened to the subconscious, and grabbed the other shake. The subconscious knows things that our conscious mind can't even comprehend. It knows where we need to go and what actions we need to consciously take to get there. Because remember, you are programming your subconscious with your conscious mind. So the information that you feed to it, it is gonna percolate in there and then it's gonna spit back out the directions that you need to be taking. That is a gut feeling, that is an instinct. Now, while I find this kind of interesting, this small example, I could understand why you would maybe remain more skeptical. So let's look at a bit more of a macro big picture example of trusting your gut. So let's flash back through time. I'm 27 and I'm working for a landscaping company out west. I'm starting to get my life together after I made a series of poor decisions, and it just led me down this path of feeling confused and longing for some kind of self-discovery. So I'm working this job out there, I'm driving through town in one of the work trucks, and I get hit with this really intense thought. It said, call that photographer back home. I kept driving and I kind of pushed it to the side, but then I started fighting with myself. You know, why would I call that guy? And it wasn't even attached to any other string of thoughts that made it make sense. It was just a call that guy from back home. But we hadn't talked in more than half a decade, and I figured he probably wouldn't even remember me. After pondering it for a few minutes, it kind of came to me that I've been saying for quite a while that I wanted to be a photographer, and I had been trying and putting myself out there with zero success. I was lost and I didn't know what I was doing. So then I decided to just give him a shout, because what was the worst thing that could happen? The phone rang a couple of times, and then he answered and said something like, "What's up, Ashcroft?" So he did remember who I was, and I was kind of surprised by that. And then I just told him that I wanted to be a photographer. And then he said he was doing something pretty cool back home and to ring him up if I was ever back in town. Well, after a year of being out west, I went back home eventually, and I caught up with him, and he ended up being my mentor. And he taught me everything about being a photographer over the course of a year or so, all because I trusted my gut when it said, call that photographer guy back home. When you get a gut feeling, you don't always have to understand why you're getting it, but there is always a deeper meaning at play. One decision was literally the seed that was planted and blossomed into the career that I've always dreamed of having. It took 6 years to blossom, but that was the single starting point of everything that I have done up to this point as a creative person. Now, there's been many times between then and now where the trail gets, a little more foggy. Sometimes the choices that we're supposed to make aren't as clear as we want them to be, but the truth is you should always listen to your gut as much as humanly possible. And that's about it for this one. Remember, the path to growth and attainment is always a long haul. Whichever path you walk, always remember to make it yours. After all, this whole experience is only due to our own individual thoughts, feelings, and opinions. You can have exactly what you want and more. All you need to do is listen, then you need to think, and then you just simply act. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is. Enjoy the day. See ya.